Hi, I'm Terri Smith, a primary teacher, and welcome to another Come Follow Me lesson. Today we're starting on the book of Ether, and we're going to discuss Ether chapters 1 through 5, Rend the Veil of Unbelief. Now in this we're going to be talking about Revelation. The book of Ether was translated by Moroni after the death of his father, and then he included the translation in the gold plates. The book of Ether is the story of the Jaredites. Now, Jared and his brother lived at the time of the Tower of Babel. And at this time, there was great wickedness. And the Lord was so upset with them that he told them he was going to confound all of their languages and scatter them all over. Now, that presented a problem for them because they wanted to speak the same language so they could communicate. Now, Jared and his brother, they learned to think and act for themselves while at the same time learning to submit to the will of the Lord. And sometimes the Lord gave them a direct answer for their problems and their questions. And other times he said, "What do you want me to do about it?" So they had to come up with their own solution. And we'll talk more about that later in our lesson. So let's get into our first principle. I can receive revelation to help me. Now, I'm going to ask you to do something in another language, and I want you to go ahead and do what I ask you, okay? Levez-vous. Tournez-vous. Asseyez-vous, s'il vous plaît. Now, did you understand? If you understand French, then you would know what I asked you to do, and you would have done it. But if you don't understand French, then that would have been a problem, right? So that's the kind of problem that Jared and his brother were facing when the Lord confounded all of the languages. They still wanted to be able to communicate. And that's what motivated the brother of Jared's prayers to the Lord. And so let's begin in Ether chapter 1, verses 33 to 37, and find out what they did about this problem, okay? Jared came forth with his brother and their families, with some others and their families from the great tower. At the time the Lord confounded the language of the people, and swore in his wrath that they should be scattered upon the face of the earth. And according to the word of the Lord, the people were scattered. And the brother of Jared, being a large and mighty man, and a man highly favored of the Lord, Jared his brother said unto him, "Cry unto the Lord that he will not confound us, that we may not understand our words." So Jared's saying to his brother, "The Lord really likes you, so you go and you cry to him and you ask him this favor for us." The brother of Jared did cry unto the Lord, and the Lord had compassion upon Jared. Therefore he did not confound the language of Jared, and Jared and his brother were not confounded. So the Lord answered it the way he wanted, right? Now let's find out what else they asked. Then Jared said unto his brother, "Cry again unto the Lord, and it may be that he will turn away his anger from them who are our friends, that he confound not their language." And it came to pass, the brother of Jared did cry unto the Lord, and the Lord had compassion upon their friends and their families also, and they were not confounded. So now we have this group of people that are all friends and families, all speaking the same language. Why? Because the brother of Jared went and asked the Lord for this blessing, and the Lord granted it. So what do we learn from this prayer? We learn that when we have a problem, that we can go and take that problem to the Lord, right? And we learn that in this case, that the Lord had compassion and he answered it the way that they wanted for themselves and for their friends. And then the Lord led them to a promised land. But in order to get to the promised land, they had to cross a great sea. So first they were led to this great sea, and there the Lord commanded them to build barges. And so he said, now you make these barges tight like into a dish. That means that nothing can get in or out. And so the brother of Jared and his family and their friends and their families, they built barges. They built 8 barges. And then they had a problem. They had another problem. So let's find out what their problems were and what the answer of the Lord was, okay? So let's turn to Ether chapter 2 and read verses 18 to 20. The brother of Jared cried unto the Lord, saying, O Lord, I have performed the work which thou hast commanded me, and I have made the barges according to as thou hast directed me. And behold, O Lord, in them there is no light. Whither shall we steer? And also we shall perish, for in them we cannot breathe, save it is the air which is in them. Therefore we shall perish. So he first of all told the Lord, hey, we've obeyed, we made the barges, but now we have these problems. We have 3. We don't have light, we can't steer, and we don't have air. We're going to die. And so let's find out how the Lord answered this prayer, okay? And the Lord said unto the brother of Jared, Behold, thou shalt make a hole in the top, and also in the bottom. And when thou shalt suffer for air, thou shalt unstop the hole, and receive air. And if it be so that the water come in upon thee, behold, ye shall stop the hole, that ye may not perish in the flood. Okay, so there's a direct answer, right? You need air? Okay, just create these holes. And when you're out of air, then just open it up. And so you can get air, and then you can close it again so that the water doesn't come in and flood your boat. So sometimes we receive direct answers to prayers also when we take our problems to the Lord. Now, let's read verses 22 and 23 about the other problem, okay? And he cried again unto the Lord, saying, O Lord, behold, I have done as thou hast commanded me, and I have prepared the vessels for my people. And behold, there is no light in them. Behold, O Lord, wilt thou suffer that we shall cross this great water in darkness? So once again he said, we obeyed, we made those holes, but we still have this other problem about the light. And then the Lord said unto the brother of Jared, What will ye that I should do, that ye may have light in your vessels? For behold, ye cannot have windows which shall dash up. Let's see, I lost my place, just a moment. For they will be dashed in pieces, neither shall ye take fire with you, for ye shall not go by the light of fire. So he's telling them, okay, you can't have these certain things, so what do you want me to do about it? So now he's telling the brother of Jared, you have to come up with a solution. And that's what the Lord does with us sometimes too. He has us come up with solutions and then take them back to him and ask if they're right. I'd like to share with you an experience that our family had in receiving revelation. When our oldest son was in college, he was going to college in a neighboring state, and we, as a family, drove our van over to visit him for Parents' Weekend. And while we were driving there, our van started really shaking whenever we got over 45 miles an hour, and the faster we went, the more it shook. And so my husband was really concerned about it. So we pulled off of the freeway, and we had a prayer as a family, just asking the Lord to help us figure out what the problem was and to make it safely. Well, we started driving again, and it started shaking, and we came upon this exit, and my husband said, I feel like we need to take this exit. So we took the exit and followed the road into town, and it was just a little mountain town. And we pulled right into the parking lot of a convenience store. My husband and I got out and we started walking around the van trying to figure out what the problem might be. And while we were doing that, a man walked out of the convenience store who was parked right beside us. And he saw us looking at our van and he said, "Do you have a problem? Maybe I can help you." And so we explained what the problem was, and turns out he was a mechanic, and he knew exactly what the problem was. And he said, "All you need to do is fill up your tires with the correct air pressure and make sure all 4 tires have the same air pressure, and that will solve your problem." And we did, and that problem was solved. And that was an answer to our prayer. And I told him, I said, "We just prayed for help. You are an angel. Thank you." And so that was the way we received revelation that time. Now, I want you to think about a problem that you have, and then also consider how you can follow the example of the brother of Jared in presenting that problem to the Lord. And then in that way, you can learn how to receive revelation too. And that's something that President Nelson has asked us to do. Now, stay tuned for part 2 of our lesson, where we'll learn what the brother of Jared did to solve their light problem.